Hi everyone. Today I want to share a not new story. This is because I posted a video this week about my worst astral projection. And I wanted to follow up with this video because I wanted to address other questions like what might actually have been happening while I was there. I have a lot of questions regarding this experience, and maybe you will have some comments or ideas about what it actually was. And so for those of you who haven't watched the first one, you can go watch. I'll put a card up here and I'll review a bit how that went. It's basically a video of how I felt through the experience. I arrived at a mall slash school and I was attacked, I was mugged, I was chased. I was very disturbed by that experience. And as I was leaving the mall school environment, I came outside and I walked down a path. There was lawn on each side. I came to a crossing, another road coming. It wasn't really a road, it was just a small path. And I walked down that path, and when I came to the end of that path, there was a bunch of people being massacred, like killed, and it was very brutal, just like in the movie 300. You know, that was a disgusting killing, like very hard to look at. And so that was happening. I got really nervous, stressed, kind of like in survival mode, and I wanted to flee from there. And I turned to my left, and as I turned, the scene was completely different. It was another scene of people being killed. It was the Native Americans being killed by some colonial soldiers. And that was also not a good sight to see, and I didn't want to stay there. And then I turned around, coming kind of like back on where I came from, and there was a parade. In between all of this, there was a parade. And then it was marching, and I tried to camouflage myself among some dancers, like women dancers dressed in pink and yellow dresses. And as I was coming out from being amongst these people in the parade, there was a loud noise in the sky, and everyone looked up. And as we looked up, someone was narrating or doing the news, or it was like there was a reporter on site talking into a big microphone. Everyone could hear this, and the person said, "In the United States and over parts of Canada," and then that's all the person had time to say. Everything went white. It was like we were all submerged under snow. Like there was an attack from the sky that, I don't know if it threw snow at us, because before that there wasn't any snow, or if it created an instant like snow, or it was a snowball that was, I don't know what happened, but we were all submerged under snow. Everyone was going to die or was already dead. And initially I didn't die right on the spot. I was inside a air bubble under the snow, small air bubble under the snow, and I was going to die. And then I woke up from this experience. And yeah, that kind of shook me, of course. But what I really wonder about is, okay, so was this a time travel experience? Because all of these events, experiences in that, were all in the same location. It felt less like moving through dimensions and more like moving through time. So I wonder about that. I wonder if some of you have had experiences like this where you didn't just go to one time zone or historical point and have an experience in time travel, where it was more you were in the same place and time shifted for that place, and you got to see many events. And most of these events were hostile in this place, but yeah, it was still all in this place. It felt like time travel, local time travel. And so that was my first question I had about this astral projection. The second thing that happened here was that throughout this last part of this astral projection, I knew, not only from the person who did the reporting about this being in the US and parts of Canada, but I knew that where I was standing was in New England, in these northeastern states of the United States. I'm from Canada, near Ottawa, and so this part of the world is close to me, but I'm not from there and I haven't been there that often, not often enough to be able to know this information just from looking at my environment. But I sensed it. It was a feeling. I knew I was in New England. So that was interesting. And I wonder if some of you have had this experience of knowing where you are just from the feeling, just from like a kind of clear knowing of where you are without it having any clues from your physical environment. So that was the second thing that was weird about this astral projection that I've questioned over the years. And then there was another thing that happened. 2 days later, I was on a Facebook page called Astral Projection and reading the stories of people who've had astral projections or asking questions. One person on there wrote, "Hey guys, have any other of you had a dream 2 nights ago about being invaded by the sky?" And so that was my first experience like that, where someone had the same or very similar experience, because the details they shared were the same as mine, for the sky invasion, not the rest of the experience where I was kind of having moments from different historical points. But this person had, and this person said it was over the US, it was a sky invasion. I don't remember if they mentioned the snow, but I was kind of surprised to have someone. So I wondered if this was a shared dream, because that person called it a dream, or if it was a shared astral projection. I've heard about astral wars. Was this a kind of astral war? Was it more like, kind of like knowing the future? Was this a prediction of the future, or was this a current, actual, right now war in the astral? What do you think? And finally, the other question I have about this astral projection is, I've read often online about people saying that malls in the astral are not good places to travel. And my experience there was that that mall was not a good experience. So I have tendency to want to believe that. And I wondered why that could be. Of course, in malls, there's no intimacy, very crowded, very noisy. There's nothing, absolutely nothing sacred about malls, right? And so I wonder if it's true, if all malls out there are this type of feeling, these types of experiences, or if you've had different experiences. So these were my thoughts on that astral projection. What do you think? Do you think there was time travel involved here? Do you think this was a dream or an astral projection? Was it shared? Is it possible this was shared? Were these astral wars happening right now, or were these predictions from the past for the future, and things like that? And what about your experiences in malls, right? Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the not story, but continuation from the first video. And I hope you have many comments for me. I read every comment. I really like reading these. They help me on my journey and to understand things. But also all the other people watching this video can go look at the comments and figure out the answers to these questions based on you guys' response. So I will see you in the next one. And again, stay safe out there. Don't go to the mall. Okay, ciao.